I'm so glad to have everyone in the room. Thank you so very much for making the time to be here with us. We're really grateful. There is no this book without everyone here. We've had contributions from our colleagues, our experiences, our lives, things we've read online. We're not saying we wrote it from our minds, everything. We copy-pasted here and there. But the book is out and we are so glad to celebrate that with you. Now, I'm going to read my speech. I'm supposed to give an author's reflection. And when I started writing this book, it started last year, and it's because I am an organizational development consultant. What we say we do is we are in the process of planned change. We initiate change and we lead you through the transition. So I thought I knew everything there is to know about change, only to get to dive into it and realize there's still so much more that we don't know about change. And it's my prayer that while we are here, while the speeches have been given, I've learned quite a lot from the co-authors who's gone before me. Like reinvention is leadership. I've never thought about it like that until today. And so there's still so much we can learn. The book is just the start of a conversation, a larger conversation we all need to have with ourselves and with the people around us. Benta stole my idea of questions, so she's taken most of my questions. So I don't know. Okay, I'll ask one question that may be familiar to what she said. Who here feels that they need to change? So I'll ask the ones who didn't raise their hands. So your life is perfect, huh? You have everything figured out. So why did you not raise your hand? Only 3 people did. All right. So it's a good thing for all of us to look at ourselves as work in progress. Because every time when someone asks that question, do you want to change, it should be a resounding yes to all of us. Because if you name it, you claim it, and you're able, you can't work with what you don't know. If you think you can't change this, what are you going to do? You have to start with the fact that you are self-aware enough to know that there are things about me that need to change. And so before we talk about this change, let's talk about mindset. Because can you change without mindset? We've seen the kind of advice we get out there, put on makeup, put on a dress, do this and that. There are things that we do on the outside. And yes, what that gets you is a limited version of yourself, a bit polished version of yourself. Because if you don't change from the inside, there's only so far you can go. And someone said a quote and said, the ancestor of every action is change. And so I need you to sit with that, to realize that you cannot become what you cannot think about. And if you do it from a superficial point of view, it will not get you that far. And here's the thing. When we try to implement change by working on the outside, you become, like I've said, limited version of your best self. The real job starts from the inside. And it doesn't have to be overwhelming. I read very interesting research that said when you make 1% of change, 1%, you get 2.3% in value. Just 1%. So just do the little that you can do every single day. It doesn't matter how small it is, because with time it compounds to be this big change that you didn't even see coming. And it gets you to a better version of yourself than you are right now. So what really holds us back from making the change then? Because I've realized I know intellectually what I need to change about myself. But do I do it? No. We all know. If I was to ask everyone in this room, they know what they need to do. But how come we don't? It's because we are very reasonable people. We have reasons for everything. If I ask, everyone will have a reason why. We'll blame someone, we'll blame a circumstance, we'll say it's because of this and that I'm not able to change. But that's on the service level. Yes, we have reasons for everything, but that's still on the service level. The deeper issue is fear. We are so afraid. We are so afraid of the unfamiliar. We look at something different happening in our lives and we realize, I don't know that. I know this. Yeah, I know this environment, I don't know that environment. And so we're so afraid that we don't even make the change that we need to make. And it's a primal instinct that we have. It's how we are wired, but we have to rewire ourselves. Again, reinvention is leadership. So you have to reinvent yourself by going on a journey of self-leadership. And while you do that, to emphasize this point, I read a very interesting research that said 50%, research shows that we are more stressed when we are told that we have 50% chance of being electrocuted than when we are told we have 100% chance. Let me say that slowly. If today we were to be told here we have a 50% chance of a bomb dropping on us, we will be more afraid than being told we have a 100% chance of a bomb falling on us. We cannot handle uncertainty. And coming to myself, I've actually remembered something. I didn't ask some people to come here to the launch because I couldn't handle the fact that they'll say no. So I'd rather not have them. They'd rather not come. So I didn't realize how real this research is until I applied it on my own life. We know there's someone who can give us business, right? But we ask no, because you'd rather not know. You'd rather it stays unknown for them than them taking the 50% chance of saying yes. It's when you read about such research and you're very honest with yourself, you realize there's so much more that is psychological when it comes to change that we need to work on, and unless we understand that, and that's why I love this book. And Mr. Doso, thank you so much for bringing this topic. It needs to be discussed. That we needed to see some of these things that hold us back are very psychological, and there are things that we can work on. Because right now I know that. I didn't know about this research actually. But now that I know that, the next time I feel like I'm about to hesitate, I'll remember, this is the research again, and I'll be more careful, or I'll take the action with the fear that 50% they'll say no, and it's fine, I won't die. Like, it's better. I won't die, I'll survive. And what's the cost of this change? Us not making the changes that we need to make. Viola Davis, she's an actress. She gave a very powerful speech, and she said, the definition of hell is on the last day on earth, the person you became meets the person that you could have become. And she said that about herself. She says that about you, everyone in the room. She says that about the nation. Who can we become? And if you're to meet that person, you'll be so disappointed with yourself. Yeah? And so we need to, hey, surely that is very distracting. I know I asked for it, but thank you for the sign, 5 minutes to go. I know it's very, when you think about it like that, when you think that there is a version of you that is waiting for you to make the changes that you need to make, to take the courage to implement them, it's my prayer that you will feel more pushed and more inclined to make those decisions, as afraid as you might be. Take the step anyway. We've been told 1% is enough to make a 2.5% increase of value. And so this is something else that has been said, but let me repeat it anyway. Change will come, whether we like it or not. But if we stay open to how we might internally expand, open to what this change is calling us, it will help us weather the storm. So ask yourself these 2 questions. How might this change what you value? How might this change what you're capable of? And how might this change who you are on the inside? I won't say that, even writing this book, that I'm all-knowing and I find change easy. I don't. I'm still struggling. There's some areas I excel very well. There are some areas I'm still struggling. And so we are all figuring things out. But let's imagine the future that we can all achieve if we made the changes that we are being told to make, or the ones that we know we are supposed to make. And let's not be so fixated on a path that may not be very good for us. Let's not be so familiar with our wounds, our traumas, our experiences. Let's open our minds and expand our imagination to who we can be and the change that is all around us. And before I close, every single one of us in this room is standing in some sort of threshold. a career shift, a relationship, a season that ended before you're ready, a door that has not yet opened. And in the middle of all that, the question isn't when it will be over. The question is, will you be well? And there I'll bring up the story of Jesus, and when he found that a man who'd been paralyzed for 38 years, and he asked the man, would you like to be well? And if you think about it, even from a physiological point of view, that should have been his immediate concern, right? Like, he should want to be well. But for a reason, Jesus had to ask that. And that's what change is. Change will ask you, do you want to be well? How you respond to that informs the next version, the next season of your life. But you don't have to do this alone. If you know me, you know I cannot end this page without introducing or talking about God and saying He's ready to help us go through all the changes that we find ourselves in. He didn't just show up to be on the sidelines and watch you. He's always ready to step into your story. And He's bought a crown, right? We all have the crown. It's been bought, paid for, the price settled, everything. All you need to do is accept it. Accept His invitation, accept the change you need to make, accept the reality of where you are, and accept that there's a better version of you waiting for you on the inside. Thank you very much.